creating a very loyal fan base. Mdickie and his own games. Bro just likes to get involved in his own games, bro. He appears in literally all of his games with himself. For example, in Wrestling Revolution/Empire, he's wrestling. In Hard Time, he's either a civilian or a prisoner, depending how you play. And then there's the Mdickie show, of course. Those are just 3 examples of the long list of games he's in. Original characters. If you're an Mdickie enjoyer, you should know that Mr. Dickey has a variety of characters in his roster, ranging from parodies of real people or fictional featuring characters, such as Barry Rock, Barack Obama, and Jimmy Sierra, John Cena. But he also has his own original characters, with his most notable ones being himself, Boomtown, Yap Massacre, and of course, Whack Ass. Interestingly enough, Matt has 2 favorite characters. I personally think everyone who hates on his games are a bunch of jackasses. His work is all complete masterpieces. Despite all of this, he still garnered awards for following. End of the 2D era. As we all know, Mdickie has a plethora of 2D mobile games available on the App Store and Google Play Store from around 2012 to 2018, with Backwards being his last 2D installment. Hello, editor here. This entry could also be referring to during Matt's early development days when he was making 2D games in 2000 to 2003, which is when he completely shifted out to 3D. He also retired in 2009 to 2011 to become an educator, then he unretired and reinvented himself as a 2D mobile game. Just to have that context. This is probably how many of us discovered his work and got the chance to play his game. Personally, I played his 2D games, enjoyed him, and have been a fan of him ever since. His entry refers to Mdickie completely ending his development of 2D games and fully embracing 3D development. I'm pretty sure he's even mentioned in interviews that he initially thought he'd only make 2D games. I'm glad that mindset changed because his 3D games are clearly an improvement. Early 3D games. Matt has been in the game development space for a super long time. I'm pretty sure he was doing this shit even before I was born. Bro's just experienced like that. He knows what he's doing. Anyways, this is just talking about his early 3D games, which he made between 2001 and 2012, where he retired and reinvented himself as a mobile game developer. During his early 3D games run, he made a whole bunch of games. Yeah, so this is probably one of Matt's biggest milestones, being able to release one of his games on such a huge gaming console, the Switch. Good for bro. Also, if you know, there with that felt big time called the Ouya back in 2014. Matt actually ported one of his games to Wrestling Revolution. He mentioned that the Ouya surpassed his performance version of his games for free, essentially stealing them. I'll talk about it more later in the video. Sometimes there's some weird ass mods too. I don't know, I've never played any of the mods. Religious abuses. There are 2 games that I know of that involve religion, the New Testament and the Making of a Prophet. Both games received a lot of criticism from Christians and Muslims. Although the Making of a Prophet wasn't as well known as the New Testament, it still received a lot of criticism for its depiction of the Prophet. The most notable one I can think of being Wrestling Empire on the Switch, which uses local multiplayer. When it comes down to the online features, I'm pretty sure Matt simply won't add any type of online mode whatsoever since he's more focused on the single-player side of his development. He also mentioned that he doesn't know much about online multiplayer because he himself doesn't play those type of games. Matt has tried in the past to add online to one of his games, Wrestling Empire Remix in 2011. He had 2 computers sharing basic information, but nothing playable since he's only multiplayer. That's all to say about it. Unnecessary question marks. This could also fall under spelling mistakes since Matt would just add random question marks to his text, even when he had questions. I couldn't find an example of this. $100 Amazon listing. There's literally a book called Sports Reality listed on Amazon for like $339. I don't know why he pays hard because this is one of the very own words. He's the only one who just say last name. Matt ends his paragraphs with Matt literally ends his paragraphs with You can go to his official website and find some examples there. They're very clever. Also, using the Wayback Machine, you can see he even did this during his earlier stages of his careers in the early 2000s. Some stuff just doesn't change. He was asked about this and his answer was, I'm always looking for the future. Spelling mistakes. There are spelling errors in both his games and on his website during his early days. He was infamous for this at the time. This most likely happened because he's a solo developer. Jesus Transfiguration. There's a clip on Mdickie's YouTube channel of the New Testament where Jesus shows the player that he has the ability to see all the polygons and whatnot. This is more of a fourth wall break with Mdickie Jesus knowing that they're just in a video game and that's just how the world of the New Testament actually looks like, which makes sense. Honestly, it's kind of creepy if you ask me, for real. On iOS was a fraction of what it would have been on the Android equivalent. It's worrying because because iOS makes up a good 60% of my business, so I've got this platform that's bad for me creatively but essential to me financially. This is an old article from like 2014. Since then, his opinion about Android has changed a lot. Makes sense why iOS makes him more money. Galleries. This was a feature of Matt's earlier versions of his website that included having a very short lifespan. Programming can fuck off. This iconic quote reflects Matt's frustration with coding. He describes it as a necessary evil that basically blocks his creativity. Despite his distaste for coding, he still learned it to make his games. If you're wondering, yes, he did say that programming can fuck off. He shared his opinion on his own website in a Q&A stating, "Programming is a scientific factor that crushes the spirit and scares away talented visionaries." Shock FM interview. On December 12, 2000, during Matt's Southfield University days, he gave an interview on his student radio station called Shock FM. During this interview, he spoke about his inspirations and the philosophy driving his approach to game development. This is the entire interview on the screen. I will provide a link if you want to have a look for yourself. Dark Basic. Dark Basic is a programming language Mdickie used earlier in his career. Before Basic was dark, he big bumps. Of course, he chose the best. He claimed that money is only temporary. It's just a check. Matt impossible. So individuals will pretend to be Mdickie and take credit for his skills in this podcast information, which is surprising because I've never heard of anyone spreading misinformation. He addressed the situation and said, "No, I have never visited any forms of any kind. Anybody that works under my name is a terrorist." Thanks for pointing that out. The curse of August. This is an interesting one. This is basically all of Matt's. Let me break it down.
In the realm of the electronic.
Alright, for real this time. Just a quick warning, I'm yapping up a storm in this one. Skip to this time step if you ain't trying to hear all that. August 2000. This month marked the beginning of Mdickie's development journey. He discovered the IV Studio, which allowed him to move from text-based games to graphical ones. His first wrestling game was a hit, downloaded 15,000 times within 24 hours, and this established Mdickie as a good game developer. August will later become a difficult anniversary for the upcoming expectations. Despite this, the project laid the groundwork for future success. August 2005, Matt's laptop screen failed again, forcing him to buy it. Things got worse when the company he ordered from went out of business, leaving him without a computer or his laptop. Profits from his tour of duty compilation eventually funded a new laptop, but his working website suffered in popularity. Conclusion. Matt views these setbacks as a necessary part of growth, emphasizing resilience and determination. Also, I did summarize the entire situation, so if you want the long-ass details, I'll provide a link to the full form map. Infamous mobile skill. This ties back to the Android games. According to Matt in the iceberg description, this started in late 2018 when some of Matt's quote-unquote fans emailed him asking why the premium version of his games was already downloaded. They admitted to using a trusted third-party source for a cracked version of his game with premium unlocked. Obviously, this made Matt upset. What I'm referring to is this video that's playing in the background now. This person specifically asked Matt some questions where Mdickie stated that he was already retired. The rest of the video is just this person justifying why people download cracked versions of Matt's games, which is unfair to Matt, of course. According to Matt, one fan even asked how to quote-unquote support him while playing a cracked version of his game. This led to a spiral from Matt about losing money due to modders by the mod section of his website because of the big mobile fiasco. Since it ended up with people stealing his games or just modding them without having to pay for it. Before getting rid of the mod section, I had to go to the clicking on the mod section of the website. Today, Matt still holds a high rating. He even hires some modders to keep stuff like Steam version. Anything outside of that, he doesn't support or continue because wants to do this. Definitely not good. Games banned in certain parts of the world. According to this tweet, some of Matt's games are banned in certain parts of the world. The game at the time that was banned was the New Testament, and India and Pakistan agreed to it. The Yoga of Jesus, Understanding the Hidden Teachings of the Gospel. The book is a controversial book. Just like every other thing that involves religion, by Paramahansa Yogananda. It explores how all religions connect, focusing on Jesus' teachings and Eastern spiritual practices like yoga. Matt drew inspirations from this for his games, the New Testament, and the Making of a Prophet. Matt making fun of people at his school. Matt will make games making fun of his classmates at school in the form of a video game. Examples will be Aslop vs. Margaret and Wussy Lee's House Party. There's more, but I'll go over it later in this. game requests. Yeah, Matt used to take in a lot of requests from the community, including adding new game mechanics, ideas, themes, and even new characters. Matt would take these suggestions into consideration for future incorporation into his games. Matt ultimately dropped this because ideas would of course become repetitive. He even made a joke post about this that will be mentioned later in the video. Matt has a self-set deadline for the completion of his game, so him just taking game requests while developing games was essentially a waste of time, since a lot of his games took a lot of work to make. Honestly, I don't blame him, since people are too demanding, and if a suggestion made by a fan doesn't happen, chances are they'll just end up shit. Yamato. This is referring to a fan art made by Kensei War of a Digimon character, Yamato. Matt used this art during his earlier
Much later.